Hello friends and viewers, and welcome to my Guzman character guide. My name is James, I'm a global player and I started playing Sword of Convallaria in September 2024. I'm a longtime strategy and turn-based RPG fan with the Fire Emblem series, Tactics Ogre, and Unicorn Overlord as some recent titles I enjoy. I'm a PvE focused player in Sword of Convallaria. I have no interest or knowledge of PvP. As a global player, I lack the technical knowledge and exposure to the Taiwan and China scenes. As a result, I'm subject to feedback and I'm open to being wrong. If you come across conflicting information to other guides and creators, then there are absolutely multiple ways to play a character. Play your way. As a fun fact about myself, I am a Thai tea boba enjoyer. Guzman's trait is Undead Corpse. With Guzman immunizing the negative effects of injured and dying via toughness, he deals more damage the less health he has. In other words, losing health is part of his damage rotation. Upon dying the first time in battle, he turns into a corpse with decreased defense and comes back to life after one turn. This functions as a cheat death. In corpse form, he retains all buffs, debuffs, and passive effects. His initial skill is Furious Pursuit. This is a 2 energy cost ability with no turn cooldown, dealing a potential cumulative total of 180% damage. Note the pursuit effect sacrifices 20% of current HP to do more damage. This is Guzman's primary single target damaging skill. At rank 1, I recommend Soul Reaping. When playing with Soul Reaping, try to secure kills on Guzman's turn. This is the best way for Guzman to cast Furious Pursuit over consecutive turns, assuming no external energy recovery. Note that this passive does not stack, as in if Guzman defeats multiple enemies in a single turn, he will still only end the turn with plus 20% HP and plus 1 energy recovery. Coercion brings debuff support to the team, reducing damage taken and increasing damage dealt. This is actually one of the few sources of a damage debuff in the game. Depending on the debuffs available in your current character roster, consider this skill if you find the debuffs valuable. At rank 3, your options are Soul Catcher or Earthshaker. Soul Catcher functions similarly to Hookshot, dragging an enemy to Guzman. This can be a versatile skill to grip a priority target or set up an enemy for AoE damage or knockbacks. While it may seem confusing why a single target skill deals AoE damage, recall that AoE damage ignores dodge, so Soul Catcher can be used to pull in enemies with dodge. Earthshaker is an AoE stun 3 tiles in front of Guzman, stunning potentially up to 3 targets for 1 turn. This sets up multiple enemies to be burst down by allies, shuts down support, and prevents damage taken. Both options provide different types of group utility. If you cannot decide, select based on the HP or defense stat gain. My pick here is Earthshaker. At rank 5, I recommend Survival Instinct. With Guzman's trait increasing his attack the less health he has, Survival Instinct pairs well with his trait by also reducing his damage taken the less health he has. This helps to increase his time spent in the injured and dying states. Counterattack can be considered for Guzman to contribute out of turn damage, and this can also be paired with Protective Counterattack at rank 7. At rank 7, I recommend Evil Luxite Intensification. Evil Luxite Intensification is an instant skill that sacrifices 45% of Guzman's current HP to gain attack, move, and regen buffs. As Guzman deals more damage the lower his HP, the health sacrifice coupled with the buffs is a strong power increase prior to an attack, and he will end his turn recovering 30% of his total HP. With its cooldown and uptime, Evil Luxite Intensification has a respectable 75% uptime. Protective Counterattack allows Guzman to perform assisting cover against magic attacks as well as ranged strikebacks when Guzman himself is attacked. If you want to build Guzman as a magic damage tank, consider picking this up. With its cooldown and uptime, you can hypothetically maintain 100% uptime on this. At rank 9, your options are Shield Break Attack or Armor Piercing Strike. Which basic attack upgrade you select depends where you are in your current character roster. Armor Piercing Strike is great for debuffing, but loses value if other party members have learned the same basic attack, or if other party members inflict higher level defense debuffs. Shield break attack is stronger when attacking enemies with shields. My pick here is Armor Piercing Strike. At rank 11, I recommend Lives Devouring. When using Lives Devouring, Guzman forgoes one turn action to prepare and takes 60% less damage. In the following turn, he gains Lifesteal and unleashes an AoE attack to all enemies within 4 tiles. Discounting his rank 3 options, this is Guzman's major AoE damaging skill. With Darkest Blade, this skill deals weak damage for its energy cost. However, mana conversion increases Guzman's physical attack by 80% of his magic defense and also increases his magic defense by 50% when injured. Lives Devouring's primary purpose should be for its AoE damage. The damage taken reduction and lifesteal gains are primarily to more safely prepare and execute his attack. Darkest Blade offers Guzman more sustained single target power and magic damage mitigation. This is my general build recommendation, focusing on single target damage, ideally aiming to land kills with Furious Pursuit and cast over consecutive turns with Soul Reaping. Your third skill slot should vary based on map type. You can select Evil Luxite Intensification for an all-purpose buff, Lives Devouring for AoE damage, or either rank 3 option for additional utility. This build focuses on building Guzman to tank magic damage and debuff enemies. Energy support will help Guzman in this build, so your third skill slot should vary based on team composition. You can select Furious Pursuit, Darkest Blade, or either rank 3 option for additional utility. For weapons, I first recommend Brutal Axe. Because Guzman's health should float between injured and dying states, he will often initiate attacks on enemies with a higher health percentage. Brutal Axe is a strong option for an HP and damage increase. If playing Guzman more as a tank, consider Hollow Axe for its defense increase and minor physical attack gain. You can also consider Tuning Hammer for its physical attack increase and dispel utility. For Trinkets, while Guzman does deal and mitigate more damage the less health he has, that does not mean he does not require healing. Cooling Powder adds survivability by protecting his ability to keep his health bouncing. With Soul Reaping and Evil Luxite Intensification, and depending on your tarot choice, Guzman has the potential to self-heal multiple times per turn and accrue multiple buffs with Evergreen Pendant. Thorny Ring, although an epic trinket, is one of 2 trinkets with the highest attack increase. Optimizing Guzman's damage means having his health regularly float between injured and dying, so he should have high uptime in injured status to effectively use Thorny Ring. Otherwise, look to Origin Hourglass for a less conditional attack increase. And if you're playing with Protective Counterattack, consider Crystal Burst Armor for additional strike back damage and HP increase. For tarots, because Guzman's health should frequently float in injured status, Gibbous Moon offers additional self-sustain. This pairs well with Evergreen Pendant. With Course of Fortune, the energy regen is helpful on turns Soul Reaping did not trigger, and the minor self-heal can also pair well with Evergreen Pendant. Otherwise, look to Hierophant's Laws if you're dedicated to single target damage, or Signs of the Hermit if you're dedicated to tanking damage. For engravings, Pinnacle Engravings have the highest ceiling for HP and defense rolls, making a great choice for taking damage. Additionally, this pairs well with Guzman's trait and the Survival Instinct's reaction skill to increase damage and decrease damage taken at lower health. If you're leaning towards more offensive power for Guzman, then Sword and Wand is a fine option for the attack and defense increases. To provide some composition and usage tips, Guzman has some of the highest base HP and physical attack currently in the game. He fulfills the Berserker RPG trope, so it's easier to think of and play him more as an HP sponge with some secondary mitigating properties. Also, regardless of having toughness from his trait, keep in mind he is still vulnerable to Watchers. Guzman has a base speed of 180, which puts him slightly ahead of the average Seeker speed. He can be a strong and sturdy frontliner, but maybe not to the extent he would replace a defender. When using the Lives Devouring skill, casting Guzman with an Act Again or speed buff will help him fire off the damage sooner, so consider supporting him with Inanna or any allies equipped with external speed buffs. Guzman is part of the Drifter and Aggression categories. Consider pairing him with Miguel and Ernona Will for their leaders' auras. For external category buffs, Miguel offers the World Drifter Leader's Aura. This gives 5% more attack and 10% more defense than the average Leader's Aura. Nona Will has an Aggression Leader's Aura, which is great to increase skill damage, bringing more power to Furious Pursuit and or Lives Devouring. This concludes my character guide. As mentioned in my disclaimer, I welcome feedback and I'm open to being wrong. I'm still learning and improving just like you are. Once again, if you find conflicting information to other guides or content creators, then that means there are multiple ways to build a character and still achieve success. If you have any feedback for me, please feel welcome to comment below. I also have my various social media platforms on this slide here. Last but not least, I want to credit and shout out these resources that helped me put this guide together. Voyage Memento for their character build samples and reference links, the Sword of Convallaria No Potion fan site for skill images and skill descriptions, the Sword of Convallaria Cloud Drop Wiki for skill filtering and gear images, and the Billy Game and Game Key Chinese sites for character art assets. I highly recommend visiting these links to build your Sword of Convallaria knowledge. Thank you so much for watching this character guide, and I will see you in the next one.